So the reason we were talking about adaptation, adaption, adaptability, all that jazz, all that falls under this umbrella, is because of everything that's been shifting and changing, and how are people actually kind of like coming through on the other side of these portals? How are they adapting? How are they actually integrating these energy downloads into their system? Oh Lord.
No, I agree with
How
you.
much, Jen?
So, I thought you need somebody to cover you real quick. I mean, I feel like we really need to be receptive, but a lot of times when change hits us from a broad spectrum, we fight back. And a lot of that is a natural instinct. So to be aware of changes that are happening, we have to be receptive of that. And being an empath and feeling a lot of energy around, I don't like to be receptive to everything. So we have to be aware of what is out there and what we're being receptive to. So, for instance, like the Lionsgate portal, that's something that's happening on a global state or global scale. It's not individually throughout. So it's something I feel needs to be receptive, so we can adapt to essentially an ascension path, and it raises our balance over time. So. Are you good to talk?
Most definitely. I'm going to be transitioning myself, so I'll go ahead and make way for Beth and Vinny and fall in line from there.
What are we doing? You're describing adaptation to us?
Yeah, basically, like the first question to round would be basically what kind of effects maybe that you have had in the recent events as far as energy shifts that have happened. There's been a lot of people have been expressing just how they felt lately with energy shifts and being aware of that. And we're curious of how it might have affected you and in what ways.
I do see what you're saying, because there is some major shifts going on in our collective, if you get what I'm saying. But for me, you know me, I'm a sit back and observe person. So I have literally just been sitting on the sidelines observing all these different shifts and all these different emotions and things starting to come out. Like, it's sitting on the sidelines and watching the evolution happen, kind of. With anything, you can either fight it or you can just flow with it. And there's a lot of fighting going on in our structure, but I feel like we're adapting. I know I'm, adapting, because I don't feel like I had to adapt, honestly. I feel like I was kind of already there, but, I'm weird.
No, that's you. Well, you're also are somewhat of a receptive person. So from what I understand, I'm an observer as well. You are easily susceptible to change, and that's a very good way to be, because it's very receptive, meaning we absorb what we need to and we don't necessarily absorb what we don't. You take what resonates with you. And
exactly. Thank you. Exactly.
Vinny, you're an observer as well. I respect you very much. You've came like into channeling a lot lately, and I appreciate that. So it's been very insightful, and I know we've had some discussions before about this somewhat, and you've seen your experience on what you've observed. Would you like to express that?
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're just talking about in the past, like, say, week or whatever, what I've noticed myself, it's every day is different, right? certain days I'll wake up and I'll have a ton of energy, and other days I can't even get out of bed because I'm so drained that I don't even want to move. But it's just, it's just taking every day as it is, And the days where you don't feel so motivated, you kind of should do things to help raise your vibration a little. I like to play music and do a little dancing, or listen to some before I got to go to work, listen to something that's going to make me laugh. So that's why, even though I don't feel like I'm into it, at least I'm going through the day and I'm getting something to get my mind off of how I feel. And that's kind of what I do as an observer. And you can tell when you're in places when the energy doesn't vibe with you, because it's like a feeling. It's like a feeling in your stomach. You're like, I don't want to be here. It's like your whole skin's crawling. So you have to either adapt or change the energy or something. Usually I'll, take a step back, do some breathing, or if it's really intense, I'll just walk away. That's what I do.
I appreciate that. That's creating boundaries for yourself, to know what you want to resonate with you. And, sometimes in our life we have to walk away from situations that just aren't good for us, whether it's it could be a mental health, it could be a physical health. It's, there's different reasons. And we have to create our own boundaries and know what's good and what's not good for us. And I think we all should have a good discernment of that, and I think all of us here do, of that, and creating healthy boundaries, and even wording those boundaries, because people have to know what the boundaries are to establish those. Personally for me, in the past few weeks, I've had some kind of ups and downs with energy. It wasn't my mindset. I'm always a positive person. So that's kind of a way I transmute my own energy as I create positive thoughts. But I was really tired. And honestly, I felt sick. Like I thought I had a virus, and went and got checked out. Couldn't find anything. So I don't, at that point, I just chalk it up to I'm sensitive to energy, and sometimes I feel those fluctuations within myself, and it can create effects. There's other ways that can happen, just in being around really heavy music can create different things within yourself, and you can feel the effects of the next day of that. I mean, there's lots of different ways that frequency can affect us. High states of electromagnetic fields, even low voltage of that over time and overexposure. It all has subtle effects to us, and it's about how we transmute that energy that we are in our surroundings. For instance, like adaptation, the gist of adaptation is a change or the process of the change by which an organism or species becomes better suited in its environment. So, that's us in our environment that surround us. We are spiritual beings, but we're tapped into a sensational being for an experience. And that sensational being is going to affect our spirit as well, depending on how we maintain it. And of course, our mental health and our physical health. It's kind of, the mind, body, and spirit in balance really creates a healthy life and healthy mind. So, but I'm not sure if Ash is, she might still be in transit. I'm not sure if she's going to be able to speak.
If she is, I'd like to add to what Vinny said.
Okay, perfect.
So I heard you ask unmuted.
I said, go ahead. You're good.
Okay. So I heard you say that you like to bury those emotions with music. And that, when you're observing, you see or you feel those uncomfortable emotions. Sometimes those uncomfortable emotions are there to make us feel them, though, because that's what our growth is. That we have to recognize what about that situation made us uncomfortable in order to adapt to it, in order to, how do I put this, in order to transcend it, if you get what I'm saying. You have to have that adaptability to recognize why that place gave you that uncomfortable feeling.
I agree with that. And every uncomfortable feeling, there's a reason for it. And it's always good to look into it. Doesn't mean we can change it right away, but the awareness of that gets us deeper and deeper to the roots of what's actually going on. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you, Beth. Do you have anything else to add, Beth? Or
No.
okay.
I just, he used the term he was burying emotion, so I just wanted to know that. Sorry.
No, you're great. I appreciate you.
I don't think I meant to use bearing. I try to, change my emotional state with music, and that's pretty effective in what I do. Same thing with comedy. That helps change my emotional state, put me in a better, when things are overwhelming.
Yeah.
I understand you now. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. That's why we have these discussions, so we can come to an understanding. I'm a reflection of you, and you're a reflection of me, so it's all important.
Sorry.
Thank you, guys. Fire Ash, are you available to speak? Or?
Yeah, I can talk now.
Okay.
So, first of all, you're doing a phenomenal job. I appreciate you so much, Chris. I truly do. Second of all, I want to look at asking a question in a sense of this. So let's look at the charts. The past, for sure 9, I think it's 10 days now. The past 10 days, we've been hitting 5D frequencies every single day. You're talking about a current that was, I could maybe see these numbers, maybe think about these numbers hitting this once a year. And they're the Schumann charts, the Earth's resonance. You're talking about where it's typically down in the teens, it's hitting up in the 80s. This is a massive spike, okay? Massive energy shifts. My thing is what are you utilizing that's working for you and actually processing this energy? I heard surrender from Chris earlier on that one, which props. Yeah, that's a big one. That's huge. But what are you doing that helps you? That's what I want to know.
Is it me first, or is it?
Yeah, you can go first, Beth. I'll go last as well.
Well, I look at these shifts as they're coming together, like the collective. We have viewed each other, or we have labeled each other so much that we are separate, to the point where now we're trying to deconstruct that separation, and we're trying to bring it back together into a more unified perspective or a more unified lens. So the earth, to me, the human resonance is a reflection of the collective movement. So it would be, we move, it moves, if you get what I'm saying. So as we are bringing this together, it is speeding up. And it is speeding up because, in that movement, in that perception, when you're bringing those two forces, those two magnetic forces together, if you take two magnets and you stick the opposite ends together, they're going to smack. That to me is what it's doing, to the point where we can divide again. and we can bring it back again. But I have been breaking down words. You are numbers, I am words. I have been breaking down the traditional perspectives that we have in religion, in the structure of religion, and in science and spirituality, and bringing them together. And I pretty much have Genesis broke down into a lens where science and spirituality will accept it. And I'm working on the rest of it. But that is what I've been doing. That's what I've been utilizing.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Beth.
I don't know who's supposed to say it at this point. I'm technically filling in for Ash, so I'm really wanting to shift it over to her
I thought
because
that was you, Chris, when I heard you speak.
we all three did, so one of us might have trumped over the other. I apologize. Vinny, would you like to speak upon that question? I'm so sorry, Ash. I'm just confused in the situation.
Ash, what helps me is, paying attention to my body, right? Listening to your body, right? Because your body will let you know when things are getting too much or you're receiving a lot of energy. And if I'm tired, I'll rest. Whereas in the past, I would tired, kept going. I'll rest because I know I need to rest. And also at night, depending on how I felt or depending how my day was, that depends on what I'm going to play at night when I go to sleep, what frequency I'm going to play. So if I feel like run down, I'll play something that'll help with my energy. Or if I feel, like Chris was saying, feeling maybe like I'm getting sick, I'll use something that's a healing energy while I sleep. This way that I keep control over what's going on in my body and trying to help integrate the energy as we go, because it's day to day, it goes any which way, so you never know.
Thank you, Vinny. For me, I utilize meditation, and it's a practice. I do utilize transmuting my own energy on a day-to-day basis, hour to hour, minute to minute. It's primarily knowing that I'm in a situation that I can have a better positive thought about, which raises my own vibration within myself. But as far as being receptive to high spikes of energy, that could be very beneficial, by the way. Downloads, there's a lot of things that could come with this. I try to be receptive. Just like Vinny said, though, it takes extra sleep, it takes extra self-care in a sense, because I did feel effects. Like I felt something, and I always have when there's been some type of energy spike around me. When I boosted Wi-Fi, I literally felt the effects, subtle effects, but it's like I just felt drained for like a week, and then I adapt to it kind of naturally. But when we have these energy spikes like this, it's going to go back down to what we can consider, if we had a chart, on a chart, somewhat of a normal state. So to balance to that now, which doesn't mean you're going to raise to that level, but it's going to raise our balance. And when that energy goes away, we were able to be receptive of that energy that came in and utilize it for ourselves. But for me, I have been meditating actually more often this past month than I have this past year. I've been slacking on my meditation this past year. I still meditate, but they've been much shorter sessions. So I still do every day, but it almost went back into the way I used to pray, where it was just, I said what I had to say, and that was kind of it. That's not meditation to me. Meditation is embodying this, and depending on what my intentions are for that meditation, because meditation is used for many different aspects, of course. I'm starting to ramble. But for me, that's what has helped me is a lot more meditation to be able to kind of feel like I can get back into a comfortable state, knowing that my energy's still going crazy. It's just like anything, even with molecules. When photons go through go through what we consider energy, they get excited because it's a spike of energy. It's the same thing that happens with energy that comes in anywhere at a molecular state. So it takes time and it takes focus and awareness to adapt to that as well. It's kind of like us healing our body. Our bodies heal themselves, but when we are focused into that and we utilize our mind, it's kind of like the placebo effect. It heals much quicker, and it heals without utilizing certain medications because of those factors. So, it's just the simple fact is we can balance our own selves out just through those practices as well, which helps in these situations. So, okay, I'm going to end it at that. Bye, Rash.
Cheers, guys. It's brilliant. So it's kind of what we're moving into, right? Is the fact that, well, for one, everyone knows that I was on a hiatus from doing my oracle work for, well, that was almost a year. No, it's close to a year that I went on a hiatus from doing oracle. And then I didn't do as deep of meditations as I used to do before. I started doing AT's lives because I'd be channeling so much in the lives that I wouldn't go into as deep a trance. And I felt it, right? And I'm like, hold on, wait a second. Now I understand that feeling like this is the not so fun side of this type of energy, and I know that if I get myself in balance, it'll feel like this on the other side. So then I actually have to get my butt up and do the work and actually bring all of those bodies into balance correctly. And this is a never before in our lifetime event, and it's not gonna stop, it's not gonna slow down, it's gonna continue. Guys, it's forecasted. I mean, you already know on the science side of things, you have the solar storms that are going to keep getting stronger and more frequent, and they're going to be more intense next year than they were this year. So, you kind of have this flow that's like, hey, we have to start adapting. We have to start hitting these books and hitting these gems and hitting these meditations and these breath works and this energy channeling and this self-care and doing the affirmation works as much as the shadow works. We have to start building our lights up because we're no longer in the infancy stages. Things continue. The portals have passed. You're getting new downloads. Your DNA is getting updated and changed. And people that never even thought they had a gift before are coming out of the woodworks like, wow, why can I do this now? So you have a huge shift in this tide where we're on the other side now. It's no longer what if, it's now we're here. What are you going to do with it? It's time for you to do that inspired action and that work and adapt. And that's what we're all working through, is how are the systems we're in going to adapt with this energy shift and this energy change. And I'm curious, truly I'm curious, do any of you recognize heightened gift abilities that when you're not taking care of yourself, on the other side might reflect in some sort of like headache or nerve pain or muscle spasm or pressure in a certain area, whatever? Do any of y'all recognize having symptoms from the same energy source based on where you're at in your lives? Coming out of the darkness.
Rephrase that for me in a different context.
Okay. So, for example, I might just give you this question with an example. For example, fibromyalgia pain, the nerve pain, okay? When I am in a good, balanced energy place, it actually won't transmit in my system as any sort of pain. It will actually just transmute as heightened sensitivity and awareness. My other senses are just, all of my senses just get heightened.
Okay, I see now. Yes. Yes, I had a spike of, what was that? It was my seeing. Normally I feel to see. And lately I haven't had to. Because they just been kind of popping up in my physical vision, if you get what I'm saying. I went through the self-worth thing of the heart. You know, I felt it in my heart. I felt it in my chest, in my anxiety. And around that same time I was going through that, I started hearing, more clearly than me just feeling it, hearing it, which was, I'm still kind of integrating, that, or adapting to the randomness of that. But I definitely noticed the clairs, heightening at certain periods of me going through certain things or deconstructing certain things, yes.
So I don't know if this is what you're specifically asking for, but I'll give you an example of something that happened. And it's something I really can't explain, but it was weird. So I was at work, and I remember, that we had the door between the kitchen and the front of the deli closed because we had the air conditioner. I go in the back, and 3 people were talking, and it was like I understood it was like I was there the whole time while they were talking, and I knew everything they were talking about. So when the guy asked me a question, it threw me off because I was in their conversation, and I thought they were talking about the conversation, not he was asking me an actual question. It was weird. It was a weird spike. I've never had that happen. It was crazy.
Yeah, so Vinny, I always recommend you get other opinions from unrelated sources, okay? But I would personally call that a spike of claircognizance, the clair-knowing, where you knew, even though you weren't there. Like you said, you just knew. That's what I would actually call that. And Beth, as far as what you were talking about, I right there completely understand. My bro B here, our amazing host, he can bear witness and testimony to the fact that sight, my gift of sight, is one of the ones I've been telling him for the past few weeks is been the hardest for me processing, because
Me too.
it's being heightened so much, and it was already my strongest gift, where it was like almost causing some nausea, like almost vertigo like symptoms at times when the channel would hit so hard, because it completely takes over your vision. Even though your eyes are open and you're seeing whatever's going on, you're not at the same time, like you're seeing something else at the same time.
It's been coming in at like random spurts, if you get what I'm saying. Like, I'm a very visual person. But this is, how do I put this? It's like you said with the vertigo. I was walking the other day and something kind of just hit me. I seen something out of the corner of my eye, and it was just a little shadow. It wasn't a full thing, but it was enough to knock me off balance, if you get what I'm saying. It wasn't enough to kind of startle me a little. I can't remember what I was taking a break because I was breaking down Genesis, the creation of man, and I was taking a break, and that's kind of when it hit me. So yeah, I can see that.
For sure. So, I know that what I just described, there's others that have an unsilent statement, unspoken statement in their head. So I'll just bring it to the light and clarify on it. I do understand that when you time shift, when you quantum jump, when you shift timelines, whatever verbiage you would like to apply to that energy shifting system that happens, feel free. I do understand that you get the same or very similar sensation when that happens. It's just with this, I've felt timeline shifting for so many years that I recognize the difference, because there's also other variables that are different that are happening at the same time. So it just shows me that the nausea is just from the level of intensity from the energy channel that's actually flowing. For that clarity on that. Vinny, I have noticed that those that tend to go towards the seer side, oracle side of things, do tend to connect more with the claircognizance. And I know one of the things that utilizing just the basic empath training techniques and adapting it to your memory of your moments of claircognizance, you could utilize for you to help you if you wanted to. Just saying. That's something you could actually do.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate the suggestion. I've been claircognizant my whole life. I just didn't realize I was.
Right, exactly. And that's my point, is that you're already naturally there.
Right.
So,
it drove me nuts because I'd be like right all the time, and I'm like, why isn't anybody listening to me? I'm right. I'm telling you it's wrong. This is not the way to do it. But people would still not listen to me. It drove me nuts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when something pulls against your intuition, it's like, no. Don't run into the burning building. People, what are you doing? I get it. All right, I'm going to...
Yeah, listen, you're going to hurt yourself if you do this, but you're going to do it anyway because nobody listens to me. Go right ahead. Then you're going to cry to me, how did this happen?
Very true. Very true. Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you and give you the host spot for a moment. And I don't remember
if you answered.
Reject that ass.
Okay, well, I don't remember if you answered is the issue, Chris. If you did, I apologize. I didn't hear it.
No, I didn't answer. I will.
Okay, okay.
I got sidetracked though. So basically, we're talking about either extra gifts or even you even mentioned like headaches and stuff. So let me just kind of talk about like my what just kind of how I've felt my energy has felt the past few weeks to a month. I mean, it's kind of like subtle adrenaline rushes, borderline anxiety, um, and it's even brought back a lot of because I've been feeling that energy. It's been bringing back a lot of old racing days and stuff like that. Like I literally pulled out my like old picture albums and stuff, and like I became aware of like, well, I'm feeling these energies, and it's bringing back memories of when I used to like max out my adrenaline. Um, so that's kind of how I've felt. That's why I've been meditating a lot to try to bring that back down to have a comfortable feeling so I can, you know, function with my family and sleep. Um, but as far as I agree with Vinny, I've had some clear confidence going on as well. Like just sitting in lives and listening, you know, I when I listen, I tone into listening. I mean, that's the whole idea. Whatever you're doing, you might as well focus in on that. So, but I'm like saying what they're gonna say in my mind. Either, you know, it's either just such a split second after that it's just that reaction to it because I'm so focused, or it's literally like in tune with it just so much. And so, you know, that's really what I've noticed in the past, you know, I would say a couple weeks, but really in the past week that's been happening, which I've had that my whole life as well. But it comes and goes. It's not something that I've really paid much attention to focus on heavily, um, as far as on purpose. But
Oh yeah, mine doesn't come and go. Mine's always been there. It's not something that's always come and gone. That's something I've always had. There's a few things I've always had my whole life. That's one of them.
I think a lot of people just have these awakenings, and they're always there. You're always tapped into it, you know. Um,
You think about it this way, right? So we reincarnate, we choose this path, we come back here, we choose everything, right? So some of that stuff that we learned in previous lives carry over into this lifetime. So in previous lifetimes, we could have been masters at doing this stuff, and that's why maybe in this lifetime, I'm naturally adapt to it because I've done it so many times in other lifetimes.
no, I understand 100%. I agree. I mean, and I think it's like even when we tap into downloads, that's just a remembrance of something we probably already knew, through another lifetime, through our higher self, through Source. We are the co-creators of the collective, you know, not just us four, but everything that exists. Um, and you know, with that's just what I believe, and I believe that everybody leaves, you know, in a like with symbolism. You know, we leave our fingerprints, we leave our impact everywhere we go, and we always have. And that's the whole building structure of the universe is impact after impact after impact to conform and create to what it has today. Um, but yeah, I mean, some people like Ash, she's had those gifts as well, ever since she could ever remember, and that's amazing. Like for me, I think for me, it's a certain energy zone that I have to be within, and a lot of it has to do with I have to be resonating with the individual, and then I get that clear confidence from them. But when I'm meditating and tapping into what we perceive to maybe be our higher self, or just tapping into source, yeah, we receive these downloads where you just start having understanding of things, and then go search for validation later and come to find out they were right. So like these things happen. There's a lot of geniuses that were amazing inventors. That's a lot of the way they describe is they kind of dreamed it up and then it became real through the practice of kind of getting these downloads. So it's amazing.
Yeah, it's not really like you were saying. It's not really a download. You're just remembering things you already know because
So
life
if
is a
I
game of
may,
remembering everything you've forgotten, right? So you get these
so
downloads, and it helps you remember stuff that you should already know how to do.
yes and no. I think of it like this too. Like, not all of my gifts were not all of my gifts I was born with. Some of my gifts I picked up and learned and was taught along the way and practiced. And I found out that an empath, is working with energy. And I was okay. Show of hands. Let's go around the table if we can, please. Just a quick, rapid yes or no. Do does okay? Are you an energy healer? Do you recognize energy work in any shape or form, or have any understanding? like let's just go in the general energy work topic. Is this a topic that we all can discuss for a little while?
Yes,
Me, yes, 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 and yes.
Yes, yes,
of
yes.
course.
Natural hair. Okay, great, great. Thank you, guys. Okay, so I recognize the fact that it was all about energy. So some of the best energetic channelings I did as full pieces were when I was little and didn't recognize that I was actually moving energy. I was actually moving my chi through my body. It wasn't just in my mind kind of thing. And it was that practice though as a little that, I had the natural gifts and then the inclination to go into those kind of practice. And I had the tribe, I had a tribe for the first 7 years or so of my life that worked with me to help me understand my gifts better that I did have at that time. But the thing is that I found it was all about energy. So most empaths are fully capable if they recognize it as muscles that they can exercise. Most empaths are capable of doing the different types and being the different types. It's just we all kind of have our own natural gift, our inclination, kind of what we're more prone toward, strong in, that sort of thing. And it just so happens that mine is dreaming and energy work. So, manifester, that sort of thing. Anyway, but I just kind of want to bring that information here at the table and then actually just go around and give everyone a turn to kind of talk about what they want to talk about in that general topic.
Beth, would you like to go first? Is your mic messed up?
I had to run back to the phone. I was I was getting ice. I'm sorry. I was listening. Repeat the question. Well, let Benny
It
go
happens
first.
to me all the time. Just yeah, Vinny, if you want to just talk about,
Sure,
energy healing. Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
go first. I'll go first,
Awesome.
and I'll start off with my experience through this.
Perfect.
So I'm a natural born healer, but I didn't realize this up until like maybe 3 years ago. Then I'm 49 right now. See, that's a long time not knowing or something, but you kind of have an idea, but it's because I know now, and I didn't know this then, but I know now that I can change the energy of a room just by entering it. And if I don't like the energy of the room, I will automatically change it. And so that's one of the ways I do energy healing. And just being around people, my energy gives off healing energy. So just being around me is an
Vinny?
uplifting experience to be in my energy. That's just what I've realized is my gift is being in my energy and all the great things I can bring into people's lives. Go ahead, Ash. Sorry.
I realized I was speaking out of turn and I apologize. Is that something I could talk to you a little more in depth on and go into a little dialogue on the side footnote with you for a moment?
Oh, I would love to, definitely.
Okay, cool. So here's my question. When you say change the energy in the room, right? I understand what you're saying. But what I'm curious is, how do you do it? What is the energy work that you do? The steps behind what you mean there. What are you actually doing to effectively change the energy in the room?
Okay, well that's a tricky question, and I can answer it in two ways. One of the ways, if I go into a room and I feel the energy's off, I'll know right away. Naturally, my body automatically, before I enter a room, will automatically detect the energy of the room before I enter it. This is what I've learned. That's why when I walk into a room, people stare at me because they want to know who has that kind of energy that they can change the energy of a room by just walking into it, and that's me. So I do it naturally, and I can do it intentionally too. So it's a little bit of both, if that makes sense.
Right. Okay, so the intentional, not the natural ambient aura, okay, is what I call that. But anyways, the intentional energy shift that you do, how do you do it? Like, if you could just give like a little step by step on that one.
Okay, so when I enter a room, because I'm an empath and because I can read people like books, I know when I enter the room, what the state of people's, day is. And if I enter a room and the energy's off, I can pinpoint it to who the energy's coming from. And I can either, go up to that person, ask them how they're doing, or just talk to them, just to give them a little bit of time to like maybe help release some of that energy, to help change the mood a little. Maybe I'll make a joke or, try to bring up something to take their mind off it or something like that, just subtle things that I've done over the years.
Okay, so I'm going to take what Vinny just said and I'm going to put it back in my words and hopefully we come to this understanding together, right? So what he does is he does an assessment. He has his first natural trigger. Okay, he's already receiving and perceiving the information as soon as he walks in the room because of what he is, who he is. He's already receiving. So the first thing he's doing is he's assessing. He is finding the source root of the energy. And then he processes what is the best approach. So he goes into an actual deeper thought pattern to assess what is the best approach, what is the best solution, and then goes into inspired action and enacts, helping to alleviate that off-putting energy from the room.
I think you nailed it, Ash.
Awesome.
Can I speak upon that? So that's how I became aware of just first steps of being able to help an individual with my own discernment, is being an empath. I'm not going to talk about a room, but just individually. So individually, if I feel a discernment that something's down, I'm not going to necessarily try in the moment try to get to the root of what that is going on, but just by certain gestures to enlighten the mood in the moment, so they can feel a better energy. I still have that discernment for the before and the after to have some comparison. So that gave me just the taste of how we can impact people in their daily lives. In my life, pretty much my whole life, I've had just people that I just first meet them and they kind of tell me like deep secrets about their lives, and I've always felt that I've helped them in a way, in certain ways, after, we've had our interactions, and they were, in my opinion, meant to be, because a lot of them were short-lived. They were maybe a week, a month, a year. And then, there was some type of departure, not necessarily negative, but it's just, and when I reflect back on that, I think about, how I've naturally have always tried to help people and impact them in some type of way with whatever I could, that didn't, and honestly, that didn't necessarily affect me either, where there was kind of a natural balance in that. And so I still had a lot of gratitude for doing those things, because you're not kind of stringing yourself out per se. And it just, like, they come in waves throughout my life. And it's just, when you actually sit back and reflect on your life and all these moments and these stages, when you really sit back and think about those memories come back. You really can reflect back on them and see the impact and the negative impacts that I've had, the lessons I've learned, because I've had a fair share of them. And I learned from my mistakes. Like, that's the whole idea. We all make mistakes. And it's our discernment of what that mistake is, because it gives us some type of negative emotion. And we naturally don't want to feel negative emotions. So we learn from them. And then we turn those into positive emotions because we find solutions. And we can do that with just an impact in someone's life on a daily basis. I also believe in Reiki healing, actual like energy shifting through energy, channeling energy. I don't have that practice, but I'm extremely interested in it, and I believe it works 100%. Sorry, I started rambling again, but Beth, I think I skipped you. Would you like to speak?
I was admiring the numbers. You know me. I was squirreling. We explaining our gifts. Is that what we're doing?
I got off track. But Ash, would you explain where we were at?
We were talking about energy work, energy healing, energy channeling, Reiki, Chi, that general umbrella.
Well, everything I do in the collective is energy work in a way. Anything that I say is energy work because everything I say is
Yeah.
energy. So I'm all the time doing energetic work, whether in the collective or on myself, because we're always in a state of reflection. And if you're mindful of self, then you be mindful of others. And in that connection, you can feel others' energy. You can feel where others are at. You can kind of assess them in a way. It's it's very vast. That's a very vast question, Ash, and I think you know that. um, Reiki and all that is good for movement. You know, it's good to have that movement because you want to move those stagnant energies. But at the same time, when we look at the within perspective, it's the mind that moves the perception. And you have to have that bridge in between emotion and logic because that's what we are. We're the bridges to bring those two together, to have that emotional logic that the rest of the universe has already. We're the reflections of it. So, anything that we do, any action versus reaction, is going to be energetic work.
No, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. And that's why, Beth, that's why you're fam to me, because I totally agree. Everything done with your awareness applied to it intentionally is energy work. You are spot on that. You're spot on.
I'm sorry, I'm a fan of yours. Love you, Ash.
I love you. I love you. So, since you have me here, I'll fix it here in a minute. I could show you, I guess, a little. This is a new one that I received, and that's all it is. But it is literally a light code. Yeah. There you go. Now I gotta fix this.
Well, thank you for that. I got the chills all 3 times. Awesome. Keep going. That's amazing.
Hi, Rabanus. How are you tonight?
I'm late.
Well,
An hour, apparently.
you're
Apparently, my brain was like, oh, okay. You're supposed to get, it's supposed to go at 10 o'clock. Your time. Anyways, whatever. I'll figure it out.
That's
It'll
okay.
be
You're
all
here
right.
in divine timing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you popped in on energy healing discussion when we were talking about adaptation. So, and I know you like that discussion. So, would you like to talk about your experience with energy healing?
Yeah, actually. When it comes to energy information, first we're gonna talk about the basics. Obviously, everyone knows the basics, like how energy. There's information coming from interim from like the left hand side. So it comes from inside the left hand side, and then comes out from the right hand side. So it's like it's the the way it actually is. It's um, the the wording escapes me for some reason. It's it's like trans something. I'll
Transmute.
figure it out. It's just a transmit. Okay, so it's like it's
Mutation.
no receiving and transmitting. There you go. Thank you. Whoever said that. Receiving and transmitting. So we receive from our left hand portion, and then we transmute or we transmit through our right hand. So that's how we are able to use a lot of our clairs, a lot of our information, a lot of our telepathy or telekinesis, and everything else of that nature that some of us are able to use. They're not powers. I hate when people call it powers. It's not. It's abilities. Some of us have them. Some of us don't. But some of us are a little bit more inclined on other some abilities, and others are upon obviously others. Most of us, a lot of the people who gather around, I guess the spiritual community, we all start off, I believe, as empaths. And then when we start off as empaths, we grow from that. And then sometimes, some people are able to jump ahead. They're able to jump to where they're able to become 4D, 5D, 6D beings to where they're able to jump out into the universe automatically. And then there's other people who can just feel other people's feelings. It's there's nothing wrong with being within those realms. We all have our paths to walk, and if we're supposed to get there, we'll get there. If we're supposed to get there, some people can move things with their minds. Some people can literally jump to where you are spiritually, and some people can jump to an astral plane or another dimension, and see you there, or which is just kind of odd that more people don't talk about it. We have houses, actual houses where we can actually see each other and hang out, and we don't talk about it enough. I don't think, because we have little pockets of information that we've created for ourselves, and that we invite other people in. But anyways, yeah. So there's that information. If I haven't gone too far off the the rails there.
No, you're good. You want to continue? You have more?
No.
Okay, so
I think I brought it up.
Urbanus. So that was awesome and epic. We were kind of talking about, dude, there was something you said that clicked with something I said. Now I'm trying to remember what you said that clicked with what I said. And now I'm just doing that whole inner circle thing. But it just clicked with something I was saying right before you got here. Oh, about the empath thing. Right, Beth? Right? He connected the empath thing, and we were talking. I was talking about the fact that the Schumann charts, well, the Earth's resonance, has been in the 5D the last. It's either for sure 9. I believe it's 10. No, it's 10 days for. Yep, nope, it's 10 days today. So for the last 10 days in a row. You're talking about something that I can go back at least the last 3 years where I've been paying attention to things like the Schumann charts and the different solar flares and such. Like,
Yeah.
people are feeling it and are having to adapt through it right now. Everyone is. And we've kind of been just like talking about things all over the charts at this point now, from energy work to meditation to surrendering to the divine flow. That was one Chris started it off with. But yeah, just wanted to. Is there anything that you've been doing that's been working to help you?
Yeah, absolutely. Mainly being aware of the information that's coming around and being around beings that also know what's going on, and getting that the validity within that. Also, taking mind, being mindful of your own energy, your own information, just coming into know who you are, and understanding that, yeah, you're feeling odd. Something's weird. Something's off. What's going on? Holy crap! All right, let's look into this. Let's look into the Schumann chart. The Schumann charts. So that website, you should probably put it in into. Actually, it was offline for a little bit. I'm not sure if it's still offline now. The Schumann resonance charts. I don't know if it's offline still, but it was off like a couple of days ago. Like, with that, like, and nothing was happening, and that was kind of creepy for me. I was like, because especially remember when I was talking to scrying, right? The certain sense of scrying I was doing, and like that's what, like, yeah. And you were talking about like the higher energy frequency thing going on. Yeah, so that's around that same time that happened. So I was like, oh well, there's that. So yeah, just know like what's going on with your own self, what's happening around you in the universe and on Mother Earth, Gaia, and yeah, talk to your friends. See if there's anything wrong with them. See if they feel anything off. You know, and that helps you regulate yourself. Truthfully, it helps regulate everyone else too, and the consciousness, the ether in itself. So when you know what's happening, everyone else knows what's happening. Also,
Yeah. Um, I mean, that's why this amazing community is here, right? We're all
yeah.
doing what we can uh, in that sense, and I'm grateful for that. I know you all are too. That's the beauty of being up here. Is I know I've heard that gratitude expressed from all of your mouths. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about, just to touch on energy healing again. We didn't really talk about like divine energy healing, and just how many different areas of source that people find that from. And it's really applied to where we put our energy, it'll reflect that. So, people gain things through prayer. It gains either awareness or it just sparks that, even if it's a healing within self and you're asking for it. However it ever happens, they're asking for it and it happens. So there's these divine energies just everywhere. And, we can perceive them to be directly from source or perceive them to be through whatever it is that we believe in. But it's that energy that's flowing and that energy that it creates the effect on us. Um, so I just wanted to throw that out there about we didn't really talk about that.
So here's my take with that, Chris, or my perspective, is that I'm really intrigued to hear what everyone else has to say on that. For me, standing on a weird plane here when I'm looking at what you just said, because I could see everything. My issue was is I could see all of the different points and connections and all of the different divine, and I just, you know, it wasn't real. It wasn't allowed to be real. And it would freak my siblings out when I was little. So I would actually shut it down as much as I could. I developed the spiritual blinders, as they called it.
Yeah, they're natural defense mechanisms because your society does that to us. They make us feel like we're supposed to do certain things, so we actually put blinders on how we naturally feel because we're taught that we're supposed to feel this certain way, and that's not how everyone naturally is, and it happens. So I can see that, especially being young. You're wanting to be loved for whatever and not be criticized, for whatever it is that you might be going through. So, yeah.
Reminds me, when I was in Sunday school, I used to be Baptist. I grew up Baptist, I should say. And I told my Sunday school teacher that this was actually hell. And I didn't know what I was saying at that point. What I meant was that this is where we take care of all of our karma. And it may seem like quote unquote hell to you. Even if you're having the best life, as soon as something horrible happens to you, like your grandma dies, or like you lost some money or you got robbed, it seems like a negative thing to happen, but like a shit ton of things are happening to other beings out there, like much more horrible things. And that's what I meant by that's what I mean by that. That's what I meant by that when I said it. And when you're young and you're a child and you perceive this information and you tell it to adults and then they take it and run with it and then use it as their own, which is great. That means they're thinking for them. That means that you're teaching them and thinking of themselves. And also, what that means to me is that we're here, at least for if there was nothing else that's happened within my life, it was that moment that that I taught an elder something that they need to realize that they always need to be students. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. But yeah.
You're making sense, right? Because if I can add to that, even in our religious structures, we see, let me use Christianity for example, we see them talk about look at the world as the mindset of a child. So why did we do that? Because we're looking up to our parents in order to teach us the balance that we're supposed to have as an adult. And that also ties into the human resonance, right? Of why we're seeing a spike, because the balance was off, if you get what I'm saying. And our generation is starting to correct that. We're starting to see that. So that would, cause the spike, as you would say, as we're reconstructing what it means to look at, a child's perspective and what it means to have a healthy home.
Yeah. And the same context of there are those who might be looking at it like they're still in hell, but then there are those that I assure you, we know we're in heaven. We know that our resonance is only going up, and that through the path of self-love, I found the greatest love, the love for all. It's not just about coming here and having this experience for me, just to have this experience. It's about coming here and sharing this experience with all of you. Every time
That's human nature,
I ask
right?
a question,
Oh,
yeah, exactly. Every time I ask a question, I learn something from a unique perspective that only you have. So, go ahead, Vinny, please.
yeah, well, that's the human nature, right? We all seek out connection, right? That's what we're designed to. Because if we think about it this way, if we're all part of the collective, right, and we're all part of the universal consciousness, of course we want to reconnect with other parts of our consciousness and have those experiences and have those, share those things, because that's what makes life better. Because, yeah, by yourself you can see amazing things, but when you're with other people you can share it with them and they can have the experience too, and it makes life that much sweeter.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's just like everything's a reflection, right? So, at that point, if we want to experience what we put a label as heaven, then we need to be able to reflect that within ourselves. And then we experience the essence of heaven. And so, when we talk about karmatic ways, if we're in the essence of heaven as we pass, then essentially we would then be still in the essence of heaven within our karmatic paths, and not, so that could be, looked at within a level of ascension. It's just the way that we perceive things and how we reflect ourselves out to the collective, is where we're going to be in the duality of the collective.
All right, so this speaks on what you just said. You just sparked something. So I saw a video earlier, and it says that when you die, right, the reason why people get stuck in these reincarnation loops, I guess we'll call them, is because when they die, they're still holding on to those lower vibrational
Can you use unalive?
thinking and beliefs, and they bring that with them, and they get stuck in those lower vibrational energies and get drawn back.
No, I agree, 100%.
So, how about this perspective? We're all ascending. It takes only a certain amount to achieve that tipping point. That tipping point was reached. And we're on the other side of that wave and riding it. We're not looking at down. Or at least, not the way I see it. Separation, duality, it's not about that anymore. Accept it as part of the all, because this is about the unity of the all. Accept that time exists because of art. Accept that it is what it is.
Agreed. You know, I had like
Exact.
oh no, go ahead, Benny.
Go ahead, Rapanis.
No, I had a thought that since we've been talking about human resonance for a while now, and I guess I'm late to the game, but I just looked it up and I was like, why don't someone like make like an app for it so we can just like watch it, you know, in different because you know it's all over the world. There's different measuring devices all over the world, and why don't we just like link all those together? Someone already did it, of course. if it was in the ether, someone else already did it. I'm pretty sure. And if someone hasn't did it, someone's going to do it pretty soon. That was awesome. That's all.
Okay, so what I was gonna say is, so span of what Ash was saying, yeah, it's no longer about duality and all this other stuff. It's about integrating and balancing these two things together going forward. It's no longer about you have your this side and that side. No, you have both sides, and you have to work and balance both those energies in you so that you can be successful. But that's how life is, and that's what the game is that we play, right? To figure out where the balance is and how to work through that balance in our lives, regardless of what's coming at us energetically.
Yes.
It's funny, it's like this. I have all the energies inside of me as the divine fractal that I am, that everyone else has. I choose, though, with my conscious awareness, to walk in the light and anchor in that light into this existence. That's how, like, when I talk about it in that sense, that's how I kind of like talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're doing. What we're doing is with these blasts of Schumann resonance, we're anchoring in the energies of the new earth as the earth is ascending into a higher dimension. So that's ultimately what we're doing. That's why we're here. That's why we can see both. We can see both the 3D and the 5D at the same time, because we're anchoring in both energies and integrating them.
Yeah, exactly, man. Go ahead, Rabanus, but you're right on it, Vinny.
No, I'm good. I was just looking at the charts again. The 16th and around the 1st and the 2nd is when they went out. And those were on the times that, higher energies. I'm not sure why they're hiding it or whether or not they decided to.
They're hiding it, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, they can't. Not from us, but, it's just, some people like to see the data. To correlate with their own energies. Especially once it's grounding now. I mean, not now, but like it's always been that. But, grounding has been really, I'm not going to say popular, but like.
That's what we're here for, Rabanus. That's why I'm just being real with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like those that have been walking this path for, whatever. There's those that I talk to on this app that I look at them as elders because, they're seniors to me, and they were the ones bringing in the energy wave of the Aquarius that I was conceived on. You know what I mean? So, like, in that context, I recognize that there always has to, in the waves and in the flow, there always has to be a tipping point. There always has to be the person who decides to do it. There always has to be the call that decides to get answered. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I get that.
Absolutely.
And so, I recently was talking to one of my elders. He's a shaman, but he's like a Norse shaman. He's a dude like, okay, so he's the well, I guess the epitaph of like Odin and Loki at the same time. And it's interesting that he like took a shining to me. It's the reason why he said is because that he was a Palladian and I was a Grey, but at the same time we were both Egyptians. At the same time we were both high priests, and I've known this guy for like decade, at least like 15 years almost. And it's so interesting to actually like come across beings like that. Like where you drop everything, pretty much. It's like
If I may, 1 second, Urbanus,
Yeah.
that you might enjoy having this information to go hand in hand with that. That is actually one of the light codes in the DNA upgrade that all of mankind globally received. It was that we receive so much that people don't even know. Like, anyways, the point is that is one of the codes that we received was starseed healing codes, to where you could actually heal and be able to move past that and develop beyond it. Because for some, we needed it, There were many lifetimes of that war cycle, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was one of the light codes that we all received recently during the Lionsgate. By the way, you also have another little tiny speck of Lionsgate that hiccups one more time and then it's over. But yeah.
oh, remember
Is that on the 27th?
I don't know right now because I'm on my phone out on my porch. I don't have any of my info on me.
Remember the picture that I sent you and I sent to Chris, and the shadow or the reflection of the being. I sent him that picture. He's like, "Oh shit! I thought I was you." And just like I was like, "Well, no, not this time around." Anyway.
Is this something that you wish to share with the class or describe in more detail for the
You
listen?
needed.
Oh,
Can I say something before you do that,
sure.
Rob?
Sure.
Because you've always had that gift of sight and you know it. You've just been suppressing it. So I don't want you to seem surprised. Because you already knew it was there. So.
Yeah. No. Well, thank you, Beth. I appreciate that. No. It's I decided to do some Black Mirror scrying on my phone, nonetheless, because it's the only Black Mirror I have. It's the only Black Mirror any of us have anymore. Um, and I saw my past selves within that mirror, and a day later, I was watching a TV show on YouTube, and actually, here, let me go ahead. I'll put it on the thing. And there was this like I guess a headdress of Tutankhamun, but there was a reflection in that reflection, and if you can hold on, the reflection in the reflection, and I showed it. And I was like, that's the face that I saw in when I was doing my scrying. If you can see it at all, it's on the left hand
Yeah,
side.
I can totally see it.
Yeah, so that's the reflection I saw. I was like, holy crap! I mean, people can say anything, you know, but at the same time, when someone is either being untruthful for like clout, and it hurts me to actually say it out loud, that kind of stuff. But it has happened, and it does happen still. But yeah, when I was speaking of it, that's what he saw, and that's what I saw at the same time. And yeah, so there's that. All right, I'm go ahead and put myself down now.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. We really appreciate you. Just a friendly Spiritual Talk 369 reminder to all. We do publish these on YouTube, so they are available there for playbacks.
That was the lion I saw. I finally drew it. I sketched it out as quick as I could because I was talking to them and I was getting a rune reading. And I was like, you know what? I need to show people what I saw. And that's the closest thing I can see of. Except for his
That's so cool, though.
dreads, but like it was like braids. And he had like this like orange reddish robe on. It was so good. And I'm glad I'm an artist to where I can
Wow.
actually like, sketch it out and like at least make it as close as I can remember. I'm blessed to be able to do that. And
You said you drew that, or you had somebody draw that?
I drew it. Yeah.
Oh, he's an amazing artist. No. This guy
Why?
has some amazing things.
Why are you not doing this more often?
Because I'm an IT guy.
God, Rab, you know how much
I
a gift
know.
that is to bring your visuals out into the physical? Oh my God, that's a beautiful way of manifestation, Rab.
It is. I agree, and I'm grateful for the information that it's given me. Except for just the way my life accumulated, it didn't pan out that way. And I did some of my paintings in LA, in a freaking
It's not
in a
over,
gallery.
by the
And
way.
just, I didn't like the scene. They were like, oh, it was like cocaine and like alcohol. Sorry, it's TikTok. This is educational purpose, so like, but, and I just wasn't into it. And I'm the kind of person like, well, everyone else is doing it, sort of thing. And I decided to get myself out of it. So, but yeah, I do for myself and for friends and beings that I know who are also friends, obviously. People I've known for.
Well, I didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You know everything about me, and I didn't know that. I'm kind of feeling out of your loop, Rab.
No need. No need for that.
LA days, huh?
You gotta let that go, man. Take the art with you and leave LA behind. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
bring
Yeah, I'm
that
older
art
now,
back out.
and it doesn't matter
I
what.
done,
Okay.
I done told you, and I want you to know something. I'm really proud of you. I'm really freaking proud of you to see that sketch because I know that's a recent thing, and that's something you were told and guided to get back into. So I'm just gonna leave that right there.
I just want to say I appreciate all of you guys because all of your insight tonight has been amazing. Uh, I'm not like shutting it down or anything. I just wanted to say that. So, um,
All right.
do we want to add to the? Do you want to go back to how talk about adaptability, or do you want to shift and go into something else as far as topic? Ash, what do you think?
Adaptation. So I want to talk on that for a moment myself, at least to make a closing statement, if you would. Um, oh, there's my love. Hi. Um, in a sense of this, I'm looking at going back through my life and cherry picking the most I guess you would say foundation setting lessons and releasing everything else. And the complete crucial point for me is right now being in a good flow with that divine resonance, and that is a constant flow and change and state of surrender to that degree. And grounding and anchoring is extremely important as well. When you are in that flow, it is important that you do your grounding straps and keep yourself in that good place. Energy cleansing, yes. Cleanse, release, transmute, rest, renew.
Repeat.
Thank you. So we are doing kind of a round of final thoughts. Ashley's going to go again, though, so she can do a shout out for things, that, are in her own life. She has. So, Beth, would you like to give some final thoughts on just, the topic tonight and where we've gone, and just something to leave the people with? And don't forget to give a shout out on what you do with TikTok and so on and so forth.
Okay. I think I want to leave the adaptation conversation with being mindful of yourself in order to be mindful of others. And, remember when things happen in our lives, it's all about our reaction of how they happen, and our reaction is how we adapt. So adaptability, in a sense, is evolution, which is, the whole point of humanity is to adapt to our ecosystem structure. And I don't know how else to explain that, because I see a lot of things coming up in the future that are going to be, rocky, that we are going to be tested in that adaptability. And honestly, I don't know how to gauge the collective, meter, but as far as individual goes, you could just be mindful of your reaction, because things happen that we cannot change sometimes. So, I go live on TikTok every Tuesday. I haven't lately because I have been nose deep into, deciphering the book, but I've gotten enough written now that I'll be live this Tuesday. And I am starting something new. I am going through Genesis, the creation, and we are putting it into a different lens, because that's one thing humanity needs, is we need to be okay with the word God. So that's what I do. And that's all.
Thank you, Beth. I appreciate you. I always have, ever since I met you. So, and
I love you, Chris.
Right back at you. I love you too. You bring us so much inspiration to this community. You're a part of this community. You're embodied in it just like everybody else, and you help people grow. There's a lot of people in this community that help people grow that might not even be aware of. And you're an observer. I know you see that happening with other people as well. So sometimes you just need to have another observer say that I see you doing it as well. So it's much appreciated. Thank you.
You will make the fish cry at the end.
Sorry. Vinny, do you have any final thoughts for the night? Something to leave everybody with? And maybe even a poem. Like, you've been putting out a lot of poems. Do you have one you can maybe say tonight? Don't forget to, if you have any plans on TikTok, or just, if people wanted to reach out to you for whatever reason, if you want to put that out there, you're more than welcome to, advertise yourself or anything that you're involved with here. Just wanted to say that.
All right, yeah, so I'll start it out like this. Just want to thank everybody for being here. I think tonight's discussion was amazing. The adaptation topic was quite, it's something we need to talk more about. And we need to, by talking about this, we're going to help each other develop strategies and ways of handling life and its rocky currents. So, it's either you adapt or you get left behind. And nobody wants to be left behind. So we adapt and we grow. So, and it's funny you say poem, because I wrote one while we were doing this live, because that's how my brain works. So here goes. Here's my poem for you guys. Indoctrination is sold as a beautiful vacation and the only way to salvation. It doesn't help or fix the situation. It tricks you into a state of helplessness and despair. It makes you look for help outside of yourself. It doesn't let you think or strive to be free. It can be dark, evil, and scary, a little confusing and hairy. I choose to lift my mind and thinking outside these limitations and mind limiting beliefs. Don't let this be a thief in your life. You can be the sharp knife of change in the world and in life. Believe in yourself and learn to fly high and be free. Break the chains and limitations of the indoctrination. Think outside the wow. Think outside the what? Think outside the situation
Careful.
and create a world without doubt and only peace and love and freedom as far as the eye can see. With me, create heaven around you and me. Now you can see this key to freedom. That's what I got.
Thank you, Vinny. I appreciate that. Um, and I like how you express things in poems, and it really, it really shows a lot of divine. There's always a divine, I'm sorry, there's always a message within, and I appreciate that.
Well, it's when these things hit me, it doesn't let me do anything but do that. So sometimes I have to do two things at once because it's just so much information coming at me that I have to write it down. So it's wild and fun in the same way because it helps heal me. Like things I've been through in the past, this is helping heal like stuff I didn't know I had inside me.
Exactly. And it's those channels. So like when you're on a platform like this and you can't just say the channel, it really helps to write it down. And the way you do it's the whole idea is just like you said, it's not the outside. If that resonates with somebody and it helps them on their path, that's amazing. And everyone should just take what resonates with them to help them with their growth. And what the whole idea is, poems, that's your expression that should resonate with you and your growth, that could spread out to a certain amount of fractals that helps people with their growth. And that's what communities, that's where you see it shine, because now we have all these different experiences of the same energies. And we get to see growths, and it helps other people in those awarenesses as well. So, Rabanus, do you have any final thoughts of tonight?
Yeah. I want to explain to our fellow beings here that no matter how far along we go on our path, we are still students. We are teachers, yes, and we're still students. But I do need to tell beings that there are deities around certain beings that aren't going to be okay with us using our abilities willy-nilly. They will strike upon you, and they will do what must be done. So be careful out there. I love you guys, truthfully. Thank you for all who you have taught me tonight, and all the things that you allowed me to show to you. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, brother. There's always been a spark ever since I met you, and you and I have just from knowing each other and learned, just from many, many, many conversations, we've both been able to see even growth within ourselves in the past year, and it's amazing to reflect on just knowing you. It's been longer than a year, but just rounding. So I appreciate you, and you do a lot for the community. Just your presence, your knowledge, your channeling, your intentions of just good overall is amazing, and we appreciate that. Ash, would you like to? Oh, hi, Sarah.
Sarah Lynn up? Yes, I
Okay.
would. Thanks, bro. Thanks for the segue.
Hi, Sarah.
Oh, hey, Sarah.
Hello, sorry I'm late. But at least I came.
No, yeah, I know. I'm grateful. Hi. Okay, listen. I was recently talking about the fact that it would just make my night if you showed up. Because I love the way your mind works. I love the knowledge that you have on things such as this current topic. So, if you would, no rush, no, I'm not rushing. If you would just kind of, we've been talking about adaptation, adaptability, the recent energy shifts, and kind of how those changes are happening and we're seeing them happen, and kind of helpful ways we're moving through those changes. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's kind of a tough time energetically because a lot of energetics, especially if you look at celestial bodies, are in certain alignments and placements that they haven't been in a very long time. So what does that mean? That means new energy is coming into play. And sometimes that new energy is uncomfortable. It's hard to process it. We perceive it as, bad interactions, bad things that happen, but it's not. It's kind of, you know how when the body of water is so calm and then all of a sudden you go over and you make a splash and you see all those little ripples and then you're able to see all the little fish that come up. It's kind of like that. It's making way for the things that are hidden. And the hardest part about that is it's uncomfortable in the beginning for us because we're processing all of these changes all at once and everything just becomes overbearing for a minute. But when we take the time to connect to that energy, understand why it's there, and process what's there, feel it. If you're angry, scream in a pillow, or whatever you have to do to get that out. It's that release that is necessary for growth. And that's the hardest thing. And Ash, I just find it hilarious that you love the way my mind works because sometimes I don't like it. And I don't like the way that it works because if everybody else is looking at things from one perspective, I'm always looking at it from the opposite, which you'd think that would be cool because it creates conversation. And it does create conversation. But also sometimes it's difficult for people to understand where I'm coming from and understand that I can see where they're coming from too, but it's like half the picture isn't there. And I always seem to focus on that half that isn't present to the most amount of people in the room. Some people get it, but sometimes it takes a process to unfold. So everybody else is like, oh, I understand it. And sometimes that puts me in uncomfortable situations. So I have learned to embrace them, to understand that sometimes, people need to think I'm off my rocker and a little bit crazy for a minute. But then once they grasp what I'm saying, it makes sense. And I feel like a lot of us in this room have the same experiences. We say stuff and people are like, what are you talking about? And then all of a sudden people around you start getting it. And then you have those little connections. And that's how we grow, is recognizing that we all have that little tiny piece. It may be hard for us to express it and get others to understand where we're coming from, but even if they don't agree with us, there's growth.
Rude.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's
So,
like the.
Oh, sorry, Chris. My bad. Oh, dang it. Well, guys, this has just been an all-night thing, and of course I couldn't let you down and not do it at the end of the show. I've done it throughout the entire show. Let me just be quiet. My bad.
No, go. I want to hear what you have to say. I appreciate everything you have to say. Please.
That's my thing that I have a high appreciation for is multiple perspectives. I never look at anything from just one perspective if I can. I always try to move around and look at the different perspectives. And the fact to me that you're one of those people that you're doing the same thing to the point that you're secure enough that you purposefully create the opposite perspective so that way you can gain while they gain as well. There's a lot of layers to it, Sarah. I just like the way your brain works.
Yeah, I have to be comfortable with being that turbulent force because I always look at multiple perceptions like you, and I'm not afraid to say it. Sometimes it puts me in situations, but I feel that they're necessary because every expression is a vibration, and the more vibrations we open the general populace up to, other people in the world, the more vibrations that they're able to see and understand and have reverence for, even if they don't agree with them. And that's what it's about. It's about opening up your ability to see and allow others to express despite your own beliefs. And that's sometimes hard for people.
Yeah.
Most.
I mean, it is. It's hard to step out of your comfort zone, and that's why we feel these, fluctuations of energy. It's just it's movement that's rapid, and we like change, in a sense of baby steps, naturally. So it takes a little bit to get accustomed to these things. We all experience. That's the great thing about there's a baseline of what is happening, of how, but it's all experienced a little different from our own individual experiences. So, that's what makes these conversations so amazing, because we can be perceiving the same information in different ways due to how we've interpreted information throughout our whole life. And it just brings multiple different perspectives and perspectives and views of the same thing, which is amazing because that brings a tremendous amount of growth for a lot of people. And these discussions have helped me tremendously. That's why I sit in chats anytime that I can, because listening to multiple perspectives brings so much enlightenment either to my perspective, or it shows me so many more things that are subjective to my perspective that brings me growth. And it's all a learning process. And that's the same thing with accepting energy is still a learning process to our own system. It's adapting over time, and some people can do it pretty quickly through practice because awareness, and some it's going to happen naturally regardless, but it's naturally we can make that trickle and fight it the whole time. So I think being receptive and accepting is key, but finding balance in a healthy manner is, I think, like the important thing to find. So.
Yeah, I want to share one more thing, if that's okay. I think you may have already heard it, Chris and Beth, because you were in a live I was in earlier. But I feel it's important to share. Everything all started with one singular vibration, one singular thought. Everything in existence came from that. So we have the one vibration that is what defined it. And then every other permutation that comes after that is just a degree of that same exact vibration, but it's experienced and expressed in so many different ways. And that is what connects us and what separates us. So we have our individuality, but we are all still part of that one singular vibration. And once you understand that and see it and feel it, it's easier to experience even the things that may be a little bit uncomfortable on that spectrum and frequency. And that's the beauty of it.
I agree. And I've heard that expression multiple times in my life, and I love that. And that's even where I bring myself to oneness, is like bringing back to just the essence of what energy is. And that essence is us and everything. And it's all expressed, and it's been formed and changed we have multiple different terminologies for that, because those expressions have happened over and over and over and over again. And it's amazing. It's the fingerprint of everything, and it's beautiful.
Yes, I love it. It's like one giant ripple that never actually ripples. It's all just the same. So if you can imagine like a ripple in the ocean that just continuously goes, but then never moves at the same time, then that's kind of what it's like. And it's so beautiful, so pretty, but hard to visualize.
I agree. We were actually on final thoughts. Do you have any final thoughts for tonight, Sarah?
Oh, I think that was pretty much summed up everything I wanted to say.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you. I always have. You're so insightful, and I am right there with Ash. I love the way your mind works. I always have. So I never actually have had to answer questions or ask questions. I'm sorry, and it's because you're so informative that I already received what I needed to, and that's a lot to be said. I'm just wanted to throw that out there, because I do ask questions when I need some answers or have confusion, and I very seldom have had to ask you any questions. That does show a lot. So you're amazing. I just want to throw that out there.
Thank you. I appreciate that so very much.
What deity did you sell your soul to allow you to have such awesomeness? That was a joke, obviously.
I sold my soul to myself and decided to do stuff for the greater good of my capacity in my own vessel. That's the only person we can sell our soul to.
Perfect.
Perfect answer. Ash, would you like to give final thoughts on tonight, and please shout out to what you do for the community, please?
Yeah, first, Sarah Lynn, I can't remember your schedule, your live schedule. Could you actually do that really quick yourself?
I'm on everybody else's lives like all the time, so I'm live a lot. But I go live myself Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at about midnight Central Standard Time.
Thank you. All right. So, first of all, thank you everyone for being here tonight. We all appreciate you so much. I love the adaptability of this amazing group of souls that come in here on Sundays with us, and just the way I have myself experienced all of you changing and adapting and growing in some way. I know that every little organic bit of you is amazing. You are all divine fractals of the Creator, right? So it's epic to get to come in here and share all of the different perspectives and experiences. We'll be back here same time next Sunday It'll be a different topic, but it'll be something current going on energetically, in our community, in our existence. So we look forward to everyone coming up and sharing. We do have up to 8 boxes, guys. So feel free to come in and jump up and join us. We start
Shenanigans
at
time.
right. We start at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and typically go till, I don't know, 10:30 or so, something like that. But we just go until it ends. You know what I'm saying? I don't have an exact end date or end time, but yeah. Anyways, guys, we appreciate y'all. If you do want to come and talk to me about Oracle stuff, you can catch me live Monday through Thursday from noon to 2 Central Standard Time. Last week was a little different because we were having that super blue moon and the channels were off the charts. So, but we're back to Oracle starting tomorrow. So looking forward to seeing all of y'all. Much love. Appreciate you guys.
My final thoughts for tonight is that you guys are amazing. It's been an amazing discussion. You guys are very insightful. And Ashes, this is a community account that there's a few people that are involved in it. It's just a small soul fam that we've really connected since we've met each other. And this is where we come on Sundays, and we wanted to create a place on Sundays. We noticed there wasn't much action going on Sundays, so just want to be able to create a place that can have great discussion, and it's been amazing. So I'm Crystal Chris or Chris's Crystals now on TikTok. So my wife and I, we do sell crystals. Our website is earthvibesgifts.com, and it's in my bio. But that's besides the fact. I don't come here to advertise myself, really. I come here for growth, and I get it every time. So it's about what we seek is where we end up, and obviously I've been seeking growth. So that's where I find it. So I will continue to do that, and that it helps adapt because movement is growth. We like to be comfortable, but that's why I talk about baby steps, because sometimes that's just the way it needs to be done. So we talk about ascension, raising vibrations. It's just about how we perceive things, and be easy on yourself. Forgive yourself. Just love yourself, and all those cause and effects will come into play. But I really appreciate everyone and everybody that's came in to the chats tonight. I've seen some amazing people down there, and much love, everybody. So we're going to go ahead and call it for tonight, and love all you guys. Thank you for coming. Bye.
Bye.
Hey.
Love you, bro.
Love you.